Hello. I want to welcome you to this session. And if you have your Bible with you, I want you to turn to Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5, beginning with verse 3 up until 11. I'm going to read that quickly. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who have been persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when men cast insults at you, persecute you, and say all kinds of evil against you falsely on account of me. May God bless the reading of His word. I'm going to be talking to you tonight about a very interesting concept entitled the restoration power of the gospel. It's a message entitled the restoration power of the gospel. The disciples of Jesus are the immediate audience of this message that Jesus delivers. But the crowds are also in mind as Jesus delivers this message. So we have two groups of people, the disciples who are the immediate audience, as well as the crowds. And in the speech, Jesus is focusing on a new status that his followers would get in the new kingdom that he was representing. Jesus' desire is for his followers to understand what the new kingdom would bring, as well as challenging his followers to accept the new challenge that this new kingdom would bring to them. And the followers of Jesus were certainly familiar with the current situation in their lives, and it must have been quite exciting for them to listen to Jesus as the message was opening their eyes to new realities and new possibilities that accompanied their lives in the new kingdom. Some of the things that Jesus was pointing out to them as being realities of the new kingdom, and certainly might have appeared as utopias, but because of their faith and confidence in Jesus, they were excited to listen, and they listened attentively as Jesus took them through what I consider to be a defining message for their lives at this point. In this message, I intend on highlighting some of the benefits of the new status that the followers of Jesus would get to experience through this message. And I want us to begin by looking at the message of Jesus as quite a revolutionary message. The message of Jesus is characterized by an expression that says, "You are blessed," or "Blessed you are." You are blessed. You are blessed. And the phrase appears a total of 9 times from verses 3 to 11. That's quite a lot. And that tells you that Jesus wanted something to be emphasized regarding the blessings on the people that he was facing on this particular incident. And while the idea of being blessed was not new to Jews, Jesus presented it in a new way because it targeted beneficiaries who probably never thought of themselves as being blessed. It must have been quite revolutionary for them. And the message of being blessed must have been new to some of the people who were listening on this particular day, because they were coming from a world that had treated them without love and kindness. And among the bigger audience of Jesus were people from varying backgrounds and varying challenges who were also listening to the message. Let's take some time to look at the message of Jesus and its uniting power. This was the most unlikely message for Jesus to pronounce such blessings, because among them, you can imagine, I want you to imagine with me for a while, the people that could have been a part of this audience. In the audience, I see destitutes. In the audience, I see the heartbroken. I see those that were looking for peace but had not found it in this world. Those who understood pain. Those who understood being lonely. Those who were confused. Those who had counted themselves out of this life. The insignificant, the scum of society, the grief-stricken, the oppressed of society, the vulnerable, the powerless, and those whose cries for justice seemed unheard. And the list continues. To those people, Jesus had a new message for a new kingdom. And the message was a message of hope and a message of restoration. I want you also to appreciate that besides coming from varying backgrounds, the Greco-Roman world had a certain way of treating people. Just like your world today has a certain way of treating you. It is important for you to hear this message within its particular context before you can begin to understand it from the modern day context. First and foremost, the Greco-Roman world of this time was very conscious of one's social status. And for the listeners of Jesus, on this day, this message must have come as a shocker and quite revolutionary, because they had always been looked down upon. The majority of those in the audience belonged to groups that had counted themselves out, or groups that had been counted out, groups that had failed to make it in life. At least, probably according to some people's understandings and definitions. The stratified social system of the Greco-Roman world placed people in various groups. They were the slaves and those that were masters. There were Jews and Gentiles. There were males and females. They were free and slaves. The message of Jesus was heard by these people through these social classes. But it is the uniting power that I want us to focus on. And we shouldn't miss that. Because in this message, Jesus unites all these people like never before. People who were used to be put in these different economic groups and social status are now put together by Jesus in one group. That's the power of the word and the power of the new kingdom that Jesus was bringing. He was uniting people through the word. And that remains the intention. God intends on the church remaining united. And there's nothing that I know of that will unite people, that will unite Christians, than the message that is preached from the Bible. Jesus was ushering a new era through his message. There is no doubt in my mind that Jesus was ushering something that was very new. He was announcing the good news of the kingdom, which would erase all social, economic, and political boundaries among people. And in this new kingdom, God's children would become one family. God's children would carry each other's burden. This is a new kingdom. It's a new reality in which everyone realizes that salvation was not just for them, but they realized that they were saved in order to be able to influence others with the good news of the gospel. This is a new kingdom where everyone realizes that the good that they have received, the blessings that they had received, are not just blessings for them, but they are to be generous with every one of the blessings. In the new kingdom, people pray for each other. In this new kingdom, people are willing to sacrifice for each other. They go an extra mile. They consider the interest of the other better than their own interests. In this new kingdom, there is no Jew, there is no Gentile. In this kingdom, there is no men nor women. And in this kingdom, people belong to God and they are God's children. Their focus is one. Their intent is to recruit more people different from them to be a part of this bigger and growing kingdom. I also want you to realize that besides the influence of the Greco-Roman world, Jewish theology also played a significant part among the crowds that were listening to Jesus on this particular day. It is equally important for you to hear this message within the context of Jewish theology before you can apply it to yourself in the modern world. In Jewish theology, God was considered as standing with the poor, standing with those that were low, standing with those that were in need, standing with the vulnerable, those that were suffering, the widows, the orphans, and the powerless. God stood with those. In Isaiah chapter 61, from verses 1 to 3, the prophet envisages a time when God would intervene in the world and make all things right. The prophet sees a time in the future when God's blessings would be experienced by the most unlikely members of society. Isaiah's message reminds people never to lose hope in the present because God is not done yet. God is not done yet. He is still working. And he has a message for everyone. As human beings, God has not given us the ability to see everything and to experience everything at once. We live life through seasons. Some of the seasons are so hard and difficult and are characterized by pain and suffering. But even in your most challenging season, I pray that you will continue to realize that God has a message of hope and a message of restoration for you. In your most lonely situations and times, when you are down and you are out, it is important for you to remember that God has a message for you. Sometimes we get so lost in our pain. We get so lost and discouraged in our confusion that we forget there is a Father whose interest in us surpasses every suffering that we go through. Yeah. Jewish theology help these people to always look into the future with faith that things will be straightened someday. Things will be okay. You may not have the money that you need right now, but I challenge you to step out in faith. Believe and be hopeful. Don't let your hope be destroyed. Don't allow your hope to fade, but keep trusting, even when you do not understand. This is the message that Jesus had for the audience. Hence, the continuous repetition of the word, blessed are you, blessed are you, and blessed are you. You keep trusting, because he who promised is faithful. He who promised is not only faithful, but he loves you dearly. God is interested in every detail of your life, and he wants you restored and resurrected. There was the power in the message of Jesus. In ascribing these blessings on the audience, he was wishing them well. He was welcoming them into the new kingdom. A new kingdom where things were going to be new. This is why he declares, blessed are you. One day, a few years ago, I visited the resort area of Kariba on the northern side of Zimbabwe. I stayed in the small town for a few days, probably 3 days. And while I was there, I got to see elephants, huge animals, very close for the first time in my life. They moved around willy-nilly, getting so close to people. I was so terrified. But I noticed one thing about elephants. They are not scared of people. They were not even scared of cars. They were not even scared of the barking dogs. They kept moving. They did not bother. They crossed the roads. People would give way. Cars and buses would stop. They wouldn't allow anything to stop them. That should be your attitude as well. You should have an attitude of a lion, which does not allow any animal, any human being, anything, be it in the jungle or on the roads, to stop them. Barking dogs could not stop lions. And the devil uses several strategies to stop you, to hinder you from progressing, to stop you from developing your faith. Insults should not be allowed to take the blessing that God has given you. Not even any amount of persecution has power to take your blessings away. Being lied about should not be allowed to have influence on your life. As you go through life in this world, I want you to understand the world is full of suffering and misery. Yeah. But Jesus' message is, in this new kingdom, rejoice and be glad. Why? you know that your restoration has come. And the restoration is coming. Through his death, you have been restored. Through the resurrection, you have been restored.
Amen.
You know, the power of the resurrection is already come. The power of the cross has already been experienced by those that are a part of this new kingdom. You know that victory has already come.
Yes.
And you know that all aspects of your life can be resurrected. The restoration power of the gospel is what Jesus preached. That's what Jesus focused on in the new kingdom. And it is my prayer that as you go through life and you face challenges of all kinds, you will remember, as a church, you need to be united. God has done everything, leaving us with no excuse to be divided. But I also pray that you can realize the power in the message, the power to strengthen you to move through life victoriously. Let's pray.